Nah, fuck that! On everything, y'all got me fucked up! On my mama, y'all got me fucked up! Just let things be!
Well, I was just being polite. I don't need your help.
What happened to Wooly? At the end of Amanda the Adventurer 3, Wooly has the crash out of the century and then just vanishes. He just dips from the Amanda show. Is he ever coming back? Is he dead? Did he somehow transfer into the real world? Is this all just an elaborate way for DreadXP to set up a spin-off series involving Wooly? Because if so, I'm not complaining. As soon as this game is over, I'm gonna be thirsting for content like Saul in the desert. Now, obviously, I just finished my playthrough of Amanda 3, and afterwards, I started to brainstorm what I could make theories about. And usually when I'm brainstorming theory ideas, I gravitate towards the most unexplained and bizarre things in the game. And when I think about Amanda 3, that is my biggest question. What happened to Wooly? And after thinking about it, I think I've cracked the case of exactly what happens in this weird moment. By the way, I really enjoyed doing that playthrough for you guys. So I don't know, right now my focus is Amanda content, theories and stuff. But in terms of the future of the channel, I'm thinking about either playing horror games and then theorizing on them. So it's kind of this back and forth loop of gameplay and theories. I was also just thinking of expanding my lore videos to other series like Dispatch because I'm just really into that right now. I haven't fully decided what I'm doing yet post Amanda 3, but let me know what y'all want to see and I will definitely take it into consideration. So what happened to Wooly? In order to answer that question, we need to talk about the moments that led up to his generational crash out. Throughout all of Amanda 3, Wooly's patience is put to the test, particularly by the Possum, as he takes Wooly's role as Amanda's best friend.
Amanda, seriously, why is he here?
He's all alone, Wooly. I think he needs us.
Well, all you need is me. Your best friend is me, Wooly, not some weird, slobbery little... Hey!
As I've discussed in previous theories, the opossum is actually Joanne's missing brother, Jordan, who was one of the 8 kids that Hamlin abducted and placed into the Amanda show. So it makes sense that Amanda, who was also once just an innocent kid that got stuck in the show, would sympathize with the possum. I mean, they're both just lost kids at heart. And Wooly's for real mad that Amanda doesn't want to be his best friend.
Friend? We barely know this freak.
Freak is crazy, bro. Especially coming from you, Wooly. Gang. You are a grown-ass man. Amanda is 8 years old, bro. You're pressed that an 8-year-old don't want to hang out with you?
Are you serious, my brother?
That's weird.
You're weird.
Wooly trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. Wooly the sheep, more like Wooly the coward. Leave that kid alone, man. Go take a shower. She's only 8 years old, dog. What kind of shit is that? Well, I guess technically Amanda's 25 since she's been in the show for 17 years, but... Throughout the game, Amanda consistently ignores Wooly and only shows love to the possum. And I think one of the biggest reasons for this is because at this point in the story, Amanda is on to Wooly. I think she knows that he's not really on her side. Maybe she doesn't fully know that he's a secret Hamlin employee trying to prevent her from remembering her past, but I do think she's wised up to Wooly. As we know from a secret tape in Amanda 3, Wooly is actually a man called Marcus Moutman, who interviewed for Hamlin's phenometransference department. I think I said that right. No. How do I say that? I'm gonna put that in fucking Google Translate right now. Pneumatransference, okay. Who interviewed for Hamlin's pneumatransference department in the early years of the show. Don't even ask me what He would then go on to be indoctrinated into the Hamlin cult, aka the Curtain, and be put into the show as Wooly to keep a watchful eye over Amanda and make sure she doesn't set things off track. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take my flowers for predicting that Wooly's a Hamlin spy over a year ago, before the first game even came out. I saved this theory for last because this is the one that I personally believe in, and this is the theory that I am holding up as my official guess for who Wooly is. Wooly is a pawn of Hamlin.
Listen, I gave.
So the answer is Marcus. Wooly is Marcus. The answer has literally been right in front of us this entire time.
This motherfucker don't miss.
But Wooly not getting attention from Amanda and instead the possum is what leads to his crash out in the final tape. And the thing that really sticks out to me in this moment is what Wooly says in the beginning of his monologue.
All I've ever wanted is a nice place where things make sense. A place where we could be best friends forever.
Now, I feel like this particular line of dialogue can tell us a lot about Wooly's character. And this is what my interpretation of that line is. If we look at Marcus's interview for Hamlin, he comes off as way too overwilling to do the job.
Do you understand that your employment here would be under the condition of strict confidentiality?
Yes, absolutely. I am thrilled to apply.
Mr. Rubin,
Even though the interviewer starts throwing out red flag questions like this.
when you are asked to complete a task by your supervisor, what is your degree of questioning that task, even if it comes into conflict with your current worldview?
2.
I mean, any normal person would hear a question like that and turn the other way. But nah, not our guy, not Marcus. Submissive Mountain Man.
Hey, yo.
Now, if I had to psychoanalyze Marcus as like a human being, he has this really desperate demeanor, which he seems like the kind of guy who's just unhappy in his life. The kind of guy who's lost and looking for some kind of escape, like an escape from the real world. Maybe the reason that he wanted to become Wooly was so he could get away from the perils of real life and live in a fantasy land where taxes and the housing crisis and job applications don't exist. Kind of like how losers in real life will sit on their computer all day and make videos to post on the internet instead of dealing with their real life problems. But obviously, even then, I don't think Marcus fully knew what he was signing up for, because throughout the games, he gets absolutely terrorized by Amanda. And then in the third game, I mean, his day one switches up on him for a crusty possum. Shit, I'd probably crash out too. So that explains Wooly's crash out, but it doesn't explain what happened to him at the end of the game, when he just disappears. Well, the reason I went through all that effort to psychoanalyze Wooly is because it's actually an integral part of my theory in explaining what happened to him in this moment. See, I don't think that Wooly's crash out was accidental. It was planned. It was all an elaborate scheme set in place by Hamlin. They wanted Marcus to mentally break, and this was all part of their meticulous plan to recreate the Colton anomaly. All right, let me explain. One of the first secret tapes we receive in Amanda 3 shows us security cam footage around the building, where we see Sam Colton, Rebecca's adoptive father that's being held captive by Hamlin, sneaking around the facility. And then he attempts to enter his daughter's room. But when this happens, something goes wrong with Rebecca. She has some kind of mental breakdown that the Hamlin narrator says overloaded her neuropsychic system.
Overloaded the Colton asset's neuropsychic system and discharged in the form of the anomaly.
And then discharged in the form of the anomaly. The anomaly, of course, being the Amanda demon that we've seen throughout the series. And I think that this is basically just a scientific way of saying that Rebecca had some kind of mental breakdown. It was likely caused by the stress of being inside the Amanda show, or maybe some kind of experiments they were doing on her beforehand. And thus, the Colton anomaly was created. And this demon was not intended by Hamlin, which is why they referred to it as an anomaly. It was an accident lacking thorough explanation. The demon is mentally connected to Rebecca and is actively causing chaos in the Hamlin facility and ruining their plans. So in order to level the playing field with Amanda, they decided that they had to create their own anomaly. And the only way they knew how was to recreate the exact circumstances that led to the inception of the original anomaly. It was kind of like that one Flash episode where Zoom stole his powers, and then they had to like recreate the exact scenario of him getting struck by lightning. Shout out to anyone who's seen The Flash. That show, at least seasons 1 through 3, were goated. So in order to recreate the circumstances that led to the original anomaly, they had to stress and overload someone's mind. And naturally, Marcus was the perfect candidate for this process. He was loyal, didn't ask questions, and most of all, submissive. So they took their submissive king Marcus and pulled him out of the show temporarily, which explains his disappearance between Amanda 1 and 2, running some kind of procedure or ritual that connected him to a demon. And that demon was Balaam, the three-headed king of hell, which explains why we see this image of 3 heads when he crashes out. I already made a 20-minute video explaining Wooly's demonic possession, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much here, but you get the idea. So after summoning Wooly to Balaam, they placed him back into the show, but they didn't stop there. They placed a new character into the show as well, the troublemaking opossum. That's right, I think the opossum was actually placed in the show on purpose to break Wooly.
Let's
Let's possums.
Oftentimes, the conversation around the possum, people often theorize that he's a very unintended part of the show and he's setting things off track and causing chaos. But you have to remember, every person and every soul that was placed into the show was placed manually and on purpose by Hamlin. They were all put in these chambers and placed deliberately. So if that's the case, then why did Hamlin put Jordan into the show as the opossum? They knew damn well he was gonna cause problems. They literally studied all of the habits of every kid they put into the show. So they knew exactly what they were doing when they put Jordan as the opossum in there. This was all an elaborate play to mentally break Wooly. So this crash out is the moment where Wooly fully transforms and accepts the demon and becomes the Shepherd anomaly, the giant entity resembling Wooly that we see at the end of the game and in Amanda 2. It was all orchestrated by Hamlin to level the playing field with Rebecca's demon, the Colton anomaly. And that, my friends, is what happened to Wooly. Theory solved.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
But wait a second. If this moment was the inception of the Shepherd anomaly, then how come the Shepherd demon appears before this tape? I can explain this. I can explain this. Even though initially I did think this shut down my whole theory, I thought of a loophole that actually perfectly explains this. Keep in mind, every Amanda episode we watched throughout the games was originally created much earlier in the timeline. So even though Riley is watching these tapes in 2023, they were originally distributed around 2002-2003. So just because we're watching the tape in 2023, the tape still technically took place before the modern events of the story, and therefore before the inception of the Shepherd anomaly. And the Shepherd anomaly was created with the sole intention of destroying the remaining tapes of the show in order to weaken Amanda's entity, which perfectly explains why Shepherd and the tapes are able to coexist at the same time. So yeah, that wasn't confusing at all, right?
No!
But that's just what I think. Obviously, your boy's not always right, but I mean, shit. If you look at my track record when it comes to breaking Amanda lore mysteries, my record kind of speaks for itself at this point. I mean, I damn near predicted the whole third game. But don't worry, I still have more theories left in the chamber before we're done covering Amanda 3, so stay tuned and be on the lookout for the updated lore timeline video. I'm telling you right now, that video is gonna be a banger and you're not gonna wanna miss it, okay? Like, sub, all that noise, and this is Marzilla signing out.